That's what I'm saying. You've driven into the program you got by inappropriate behavior. That's what
It
you-
was.
that's what got you into it.
It was back in the day when
Right.
camp meant pranks.
Yeah.
We don't say the word pranks now, and we absolutely don't tolerate pranks anymore. But if I told you some of these unbelievable stories from the past, so we got off to a rocky start that way. But even now that we have two adult men with only 8 boys in a cabin, I still prefer that they sleep in different areas of that cabin. I've been watching these common denominators for 25 years, and I can tell you that the actual configuration of your cabin can, because I watched it happen year after year, go, why am I always having trouble with that cabin over there? Well, it was 2-story, and the counselors were sleeping in the lower level, and all the boys were up top. And I'd find that cabin, once those guys went to sleep down below, that cabin was outdoors. They were out and doing whatever. And each time trying to top whatever they'd heard about had happened the year before, sort of thing. So, yeah, we've taken it down a whole bunch.
One of the things, which I swear every year I'm going to take a can of WD-40, and I decided this past year that, no, I'm going to leave WD-40 at home. The squeaky door. And my bunk is right by the door. You know, that's where I sleep. And I encourage other counselors to sleep by the door. And I'm not taking my WD-40, even though, because I know when somebody's up.
Yeah, I moved my bed just over about 5 inches and it blocked the door, it wouldn't come open.
Yeah, over the years, I've added in a few things in the evenings. First of all, we start obviously early in the morning, we go till late at night, and it's almost all activity based. They're exhausted. But then I found a few of the things that we've added in, and that is that we have 4th meal. So we fill them up on cheese and carbs. So like one night's mac and cheese, and one night it's nachos, but it's always a cheese and a carb or something.
Sleep for.
And then I created a leadership meditation that actually is sort of a sort of internal reflection on, and we start like with our mind and what we thought about today and how what words we said to people, and it's all set to this kind of calm
To
music.
themselves.
And well, we have a facilitator that reads it, and we play this calm music. And we did it in Oklahoma, and we started in Texas, and Texas, they were like, it's never going to work. And they get done with that, and they're like, oh, good. And we have not had a single problem in the years we've been doing that. So bringing them down a notch, filling them up. It's like the old-fashioned Big Mama stuff, you know, singing some lullabies. But, and then they go back to their cabin. We've always had security that's out to make sure that they're not, because we have an external bathhouse where we were, and there was no bathrooms in the cabin, so they had to go. So we always had a security guard there to make sure nobody was. And then, of course, sleeping by the doors. But we really have had no problems for, and then we're out there for, including the staff day, 5 nights.
Wow.
Yes.
Claudia.
You know, we have the girls together for 7 days, and they don't worry about what they look like, so our bathroom time is almost 0. We go in, we shower, we're done. And sometimes the girls in the morning, sometimes in the evening, they're not worried about how they look, so they're in sweats, they're focusing on their activities, they're not focusing on what they look like or how they're dressed.
Until
Until the day that the boys come for the swap, because we share the transportation. The kids from El Paso, they come up to Albuquerque, come up on a bus, and they pick up, they drop off, and then they pick up. That day, everybody's very worried, and it works the same way when it was the other way around. We swapped weeks, where the boys were just as nervous about what they look like. How do you guys handle the
3 hours of bathroom time.
bathroom time?
You gotta be where you gotta be when you gotta be there. That's just, you know, you gotta be there.
In the morning.
I'm in a college dorm, so number one, 2 people to a room, and you have a lock and you have a key, and nobody can get in your room or on your floor without that key.
That's what we have.
That eliminates a lot of.
Yeah, it helps tremendously.
It's like, it's kind of like a V, and so the girls are on the 5th floor on this side, and then there's a door, but,
And there are no fire code problems with you locking them in?
Yeah, it's with their key.
Yeah, it's the door, and then electronic key, and so then there's like a common area in the middle, and then there's the boys' side, and the boys can't get in the girls' side,
Oh,
so
yeah.
they're swiping the door, and so we don't really.
Oh, really?
We do Grace
You want to do what?
Grace.
What?
Grace World. tell them that if they're late, they're gonna stand in front of everybody and sing Gray Squirrel? You know,
Oh,
Gray
we do
Squirrel,
that.
Gray Squirrel, squishy bushy tail.
I'm a little teapot.
Yeah.
We've done that before.
And once you show it to them one time, they're like, and then the other thing is, because they're in color groups, if one person of your group is not there, you're not allowed to start your meal or anything, so the whole group is penalized.
Yeah, they don't start anything until everybody's there and having for.
Yes, sir, there was a question over here.
I was just gonna make a comment, and I could understand that with the females all in one group, but I took a group of males on a river trip, all males, and it was like a locker room 24/7. And you know, if you can live through that whole time, yeah, I guess it would be okay, but I sure don't want to be the counselor on that.
On an all-boys situation?
Well,
you're
I
saying?
have to admit, they were all from our football team, but
Well, we tell the counselor if the shoes need to be outside, put them out there. That sort of thing, but,
no, I'm not talking about the smell of the locker room. I'm talking about the games, the bad language, and when you put females, the guys don't say those bad words anymore.
but we have all kinds of ways that I think we've tackled that. And by the end of camp, one of the things that really gets me towards the end is when they put away all that, that competition stuff and the cabins are start dealing with one another in a different fashion. So by the end of the week, in our case, with our program, I think they really are changed.
I
Just no
truly
way.
believe it, and I think if I could get past the first couple days.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what's critical. And we've changed the sports. We were having almost always our injuries were on the first day. They were so wound and showing off. And when some of the kids were injuring themselves to the extent that they were out of their sport and no longer eligible for their college opportunities, a couple scholarships, we took a couple kids away from their scholarships, that we made some real radical changes in what, and it was softball.
Wow.
But, yes, sir.
Impressive.
I don't want to cut off the gender side of it, we had the age piece on there as well.
Yeah, we probably won't take very long.
And I was very curious, because I see a lot of groups are some very small ages, junior, seniors, or a lot of just seniors or just juniors. And I inherited a program that was incoming ninth, because it's in July, incoming freshmen through seniors, anywhere in that age. Part of that was because they were struggling to get students. So I know that, me getting more buy-in from the club solved some of that problem. But has anybody transitioned, been in a wider age group and then had to narrow their age group down that they've ever had to do, or?
We dabbled, we took and thought it might be better, and obviously if you've got college counselors and whatnot as some of your speakers, by the time you hit a kid that's a junior already made all his college decisions, we're a little late. And we thought we'd back up, and so we brought the next bracket in at the same time. And just for us,
What age are you?
we are juniors going into their senior year.
Only.
So when yes, exclusively and absolutely only now. When we mixed them, it wasn't working out sometimes in the cabin. Once they knew their difference in level in high school, unbelievably, they were treating one another a little differently. We just didn't like it.
Does anybody else have a wide range, more than 2 years, like a third? Or?
We do,
Battering.
freshmen, they're gonna be sophomores, sophomores, they're gonna be juniors, juniors, they're gonna be seniors, all three.
So 3-year age range.
And it works well, but we contract with an experiential program with trained staff that are really so good. And don't you think it works, John?
I'm listening to all these things and I'm thinking, it sounds like you're babysitters. It really does sound like you're babysitters. I mean, if you go in there and say, look, you're young adults, you're expected to act like a young adult, respect each other. Good Rotarians are paying $350 to send you here for you to learn something. Now, if you don't want to be here and respect each other and use this to your advantage, go home. Go home.
I think they're getting some
We treat them that
message.
way.
Well, but I'm not interested in them acting like they're picking up what we want them to pick up. I want by the end of the week that they've done so. And if I really get them there with that conversation, believe me, we have. But to actually go to the end of that week and get the results that we are after, we're trading maturity, we want the maturity level rather than the younger ones mixed. And when we've seen, if the mix is affecting our end result, that's why we've changed back, and that's why we do it, and so.
We have co-ed as well, so we
Right.
do have
The advantage that they're not acting as,
I don't,
right,
I
they're
mean,
not doing the macho thing.
we haven't had the problems that you're talking about, we haven't had those problems.
We had one, apparently a
2
bunch
years
of
ago.
outbounding riot kids from the nearby town that brought in some alcohol, and of course, they were sent away. But that was
college
before
campus.
you or I got involved
We
in
got
this.
campus security, we
Yeah.
got cameras, you know.
we don't, that
cover
was
that
the
all
security, that
up
was.
front. So I don't know.
It does, but we've had to tackle some of those problems in other ways also, just the better interviews with the kids. We had clubs not interviewing and stuff, so a lot of angles to it.
We were talking about age groups, and ours is primarily juniors, but we have our spies that come back as seniors. Or if someone contacts and says, this kid just moved into the high school, really great kid, we'd really like to have them have the opportunity since they couldn't do it as a junior. And then every once in a while, we'll get a sophomore. Most of the time when it's a sophomore, it's a brother or sister of someone else that's coming and they,
No problem.
yeah, they want them to try to
I
get
don't,
Oh.
I don't.
Bridget.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point, because I'm a communication teacher, and we teach about like space and how what different environments communicate and the atmosphere they create. So if you have a RILA that's on a college campus, it's going to just automatically create a different environment than if you are out in the woods. The very first RILAs that I did were at a conference facility, and the kids sat like